Hey, this is We Called It. You missed Connor's long rant on how his wife kills mice for a living, apparently. All she does. Nothing special
Everyone would
about
have
it.
loved that, by the way.
I'm
Murder mice and
100%
mac
sure.
and cheese salad, man.
I
We
can
had
tell
some
you
gold over
one
here.
out of every 3 people that hears that doesn't care at all. And
I
I was
mean,
the one.
like, just put that on the thumbnail. Just like
The what?
mice killer.
Murder mice.
Mac and cheese salad. I mean, I'm telling you, people would be interested
your
in
wife
just this
with
banter.
like the Charlie bat from It's
Listen,
Always Sunny.
This banter is great, and yet you cut it all out, and people just want to hear entertainment, Phil.
I can tell you that, as a matter of fact, no one wants to hear anything we say.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm judging based on viewership.
Tens of people want to hear
Most of the viewers are actually doing the podcast right now.
Tens of people.
I will say we are going to be talking about what people actually have listened to us, and that was we covered over-unders, so we're going to be something similar. Division winners, futures, Super Bowl winners, all that great stuff.
My computer's going to die in about 10 minutes, so.
All right, cool. We'll have to talk really fast, or it will just be more productive for me and Ken. We called it Dr. Kenneth Call. Connor Lucas is out in Chicago with like a deadly computer or something. Sharing my screen, we're going to start out with division odds, and we will do whatever the order is that DraftKings has, because they had the nicest format for this. So here we go. AFC North. Probably the craziest division, I think, for any of us to make a pick on. Connor, who do you think will win this division?
Man. I mean, there's like who I think will win it, which is the Ravens. And then I think there's like the Browns have the best value. I know. But if Jamar Chase decides that he doesn't want to play for a couple of games, they're already 0-2. So,
all right, Connor, you might have forgotten this, but the Bengals have the 6th easiest schedule of the year, and the other 3 teams are the hardest 3.
The Bengals. You convinced me.
Right.
The Bengals.
All right.
I think the Bengals and the Browns probably is the best. The best value is the Browns.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that like the Browns, everyone's really low on the Browns. You gotta hate Deshaun Watson so much. But it's like, he was so bad last year that anything's better. Like, Jameis playing would be better. So I'm just surprised they don't have better odds from just like, if they get anything improvement at the quarterback position, they'll be, better than last year.
Dude, I just have so much food here. You guys don't even I'm on the cookies now.
You do not have all the crab legs like you did the one time.
First off, the Browns don't need better quarterback play. They need the Joe Flacco quality results of last year. So
Chuck and duck, baby. Chuck and duck.
I always love looking at the teams Joe Flacco beat and reminding everyone, oh yeah, they're complete garbage.
Yeah, but so was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Oh, the Ravens?
Phil, do you remember those like stats we were talking about where it's like percentage of like missed open receivers or incompletions on missed open receivers, and like Deshaun Watson had more than everyone by a lot?
I tell everyone.
Was hurt.
Everyone knows
his shoulder was
2
hurt.
quarters.
You know the guy.
The latest 2 quarters of play is 100% indicative of how that guy's going to play. And last time I checked, he was perfect against the Ravens in the final 2 quarters of that game.
Yeah, well, I'm just so shocked that the Bengals like flew up. They were closer. They were definitely closer to the Browns. Like when we talked about this at this point, it's like 6 weeks ago. But the fact that they have them as the favorites, just barely over the Ravens, is kind of crazy. But I mean, yes, they do have that great schedule. I'm not worried about Jamar Chase holding out because he has 2 years left on the contract. Like if he holds out a year, it doesn't count. Like I get it. He wants to get paid because that's just what receivers are doing right now. But between their schedule, between the fact that I do believe in Joe Burrow, when you talk about injuries, his wrist injury, yes, it's different. Yes, he can't throw 3 days in a row right now. He throws for 2, rests 1. Throws for 2, rests 1. I don't care about that. That's fine. He won't have to do that during the regular season.
He's wearing a glove, Ken. He's wearing a glove.
Last time he wore something, that part of his body broke. I think I saw someone put that stat out. He wore like a sleeve and then his arm got messed up. He wore a leg sleeve and then his leg got messed up. So 100% correlation.
Okay.
He's
Well, you know
wearing
what?
gloves.
Let me change my pick to no. Definitely still the Bengals.
All right, I got
The
the Bengals
last
spin, but I'm
person
with
to wear
Con.
a glove and throw a ball, Kenny Pickett. What do you want
That
there?
can't be true at all. Like, someone had to have worn a glove at some point.
No. Last person.
It was cold and rainy in some of the playoff games, right?
Kenny Pickett was in it.
Anyways, if I had to place one bet, I think it would be Browns at plus 600, just because the odds are so much better. And why only win $100 or $1.4 when you could win 6? So let's go on, because
And then
I don't know
parlay it.
why. I don't know why DraftKings has this stupid ordering where the NFC West comes after the AFC North. But
That's
I guess
fine.
that's where we're going.
Our fan will have this screen open. They're just going down with us. Don't worry.
I have them sharing. They see the screen.
I don't even remember half the teams on what division they play. So
It's on the screen. Guys,
I'm just
everyone
telling
sees
you
the
in
screen.
general. It doesn't matter to me. Phil, don't start. Don't.
We're talking
start.
about division winners. Why would the divisions not matter to you?
Ken, are we going to take
last
over?
Time, Phil, last time we should have definitely won by conferences. I'm just saying.
I do by whatever the betting book I'm using at the time gives me.
Sponsored by Liquid Death.
You can't say that.
Not sponsored by anyone.
Not sponsored by Liquid Death.
All right. Anyways, 49ers is just way too obvious to not pick for this one. Like, they're just the favorite to win the NFC, and I don't think the Lions are close, but it's not actually that close.
Well, we're talking about divisions right now.
No, I'm just talking
about not very close.
I'm saying that's how good they are.
So I'm sure Connor here is going to touch on the Ayuk situation, but that offense is just too many weapons. I don't care if Brock Purdy's just adequate and doesn't lose games. It's like, cool, that's all you need. I don't care that Christian McCaffrey, you see him in training, he'll be fine. He was lucky enough to get a little nicked up early in the offseason or in the preseason. Cool. He doesn't play in the preseason. Doesn't matter.
That's literally what Kyle Shanahan just said today. Someone asked him about it. He's
really?
like, dude, if he'd be working too hard in the preseason. It's good. Now get some rest.
You see him working out. He's fine. I'm not worried about that at all. In the division, I'm a little worried about Puka's knee, but besides that, I mean, I think that throwing your money at any of these other teams, I do like Cardinals to do better than what they're expected to do this year. I mean, I like the Seahawks too, but doing anyone else for the division winner is just stupid.
Hey,
I hope someone else wins this division.
Even if they do, it's not a good bet. That's fine. I'm sorry?
Puka's got a little bursitis action. You know about bursitis. You're a doctor.
I heard a podcast where they're talking about what the heck is bursitis, and I was like, guys, you got to absolutely just be kidding. So
just Google.
It's not. Yeah. So bursitis actually isn't in the knee. It's in the areas like right, like superficial to the knee. It acts essentially like an airbag, where if there's an injury there, it blows up with fluid. So the only thing to do though is rest it, compress it, and don't continue to overuse it. So
you heard it there first, folks. Take a needle to it, pop it out.
Didn't say anything like that. Okay.
Cut it off. Just cut it. Cut it off. All right. Anyways, do either of you know why the Rams are supposed to be so good? I'm getting tired of seeing them with like.
Because people love their offense, man. Fantasy football people love their offense.
I love their offense too. Do you know why? Because their defense is so bad. Like, they lost Aaron Donald. They lost their defensive coordinator. I think they could have a bottom 5 defense by the end of the year. Which, again, makes their offense more valuable.
That sounds good.
Let's go on. NFC East. NFC East. So this one's tough, actually. Because I don't like the odds for the Eagles, and everyone knows the Cowboys suck. But then it's like these other teams don't even play football, and don't ever bet the Giants to do anything.
I really just... The Commanders at least had an interesting defense at the beginning of the year last year. They at least had some players that are like, it'd be great if we just get rid of them, because I guess we'll never need defense ever again. And they're yeah, I'm very interested to see how the Commanders' offense looks with the new quarterback. I do believe in Terry McLaurin. I think he's a good player, but no, I mean they're unfortunately not in the conversation to win the division. I like the Eagles. They're not the Cowboys.
Can't get
but
anything by Ken.
but I really I like Saquon. I think just adding him to an offense like Saquon, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, and then you had to add Jalen Hurts as a dynamic player. Not just passing, but with the legs in and of himself. I mean, those are some good weapons. I mean, probably my second favorite like offensive like weapon set in the NFC. So, and of course, like their defense, I just don't know what happened to them down the stretch last year, and their defense completely just fell off. But they gave all that money to Huff, that DN, and I don't know. I think that you're going to see more of a bounce closer to the beginning of the year last year than the end of the year.
You mean
Dude,
the team that was favorite to go to the Super Bowl?
I cannot
That
wait
one.
for Ryan Tannehill to go to the Giants, man. He's going to take over. Ryan Tannehill is the next quarterback of the New York Football Giants, baby.
I would
wait.
like Malik Neighbors so much more if Tannehill was there.
Oh yeah, I can't.
What does that mean for them, though?
Okay, but I'm saying I cannot believe that they have not called someone. Bite the bullet.
I agree.
Eat your $90 million. Be an idiot. Look like a moron. But at least you're not going to be embarrassed.
But more importantly, did you see Daniel Jones grew a nice beard?
And then everyone was like, "Whoa, he's good at football because of his beard." And then
it gives him a chance, man. It gives him a chance.
Threw 2 picks immediately after.
Do you guys think the Commanders have any chance to be like the RG3 Commanders this year?
Yeah.
Like Jaden, it's just the comp everyone's been throwing out for Jaden Daniels.
Daniels is a beast.
For sure. I think that they have a big opportunity to be fantasy relevant.
Let me see the division.
Not winners. Like,
I think they'll be exciting. 9-8.
Yep. Ooh, 9-8. That's pretty good.
All right, so then
we all picked the under.
I'm not betting this.
We
division.
all picked them under 6.5.
Change my mind.
Hey, that was before we saw Jaden Daniels play in the preseason. Dynamic Brown, by the way, if you need a wide receiver in fantasy, I think he's going to be very, very bottom of your roster kind of guy. He's replaced Jahan Dotson.
You think he's better than Jahan Dotson?
I think everyone thinks he is. Who?
Wide receiver 2 is your tight end. His name is Ben Sinnott. Book it.
Sinnott. Is it not French?
No.
All right. Anyways, NFC South. Here we go. I wish, you know what? Panthers at plus 1,100 looks pretty good to me. But it's the Falcons all the way. I think the Falcons are like, they're starting to, they're going to remind me of the Cowboys level kind of team. They're going to go 12-5. They're going to be beating everyone up, and then they're going to play a real football team in the playoffs. They're going to get their butt kicked. So Falcons minus 145. I don't know if it's value, but I do think this is their division, and I don't think any of the other teams are even close to them.
They're not. They just got 2 all-pro safeties. They just signed Justin Simmons.
Yeah, they just got him. They just got a DN. Who did they get?
It was a good DN.
Matt Judon. Yeah. And if he wants to play, they have all the pieces, man. Tampa Bay, just the fact that they won it last year. I mean, anyone in Cleveland knows that this is the Baker cycle. You know,
Bet on Baker. Bet on Baker.
If you want,
this is what people do.
That's how you lose money. Like there, betting on Baker when you expect him to do good.
Bet with your heart. Bet with your heart.
It's just like do whatever the opposite of the market or the media thinks on Baker, right? Because they're just like they kick Baker like when he's down and then he plays well, and then when he's doing hot, they're like, we love you.
You got $100 million, Phil.
That's honestly, in terms of QB money, that's nothing. If he was a basketball player, he might be the 8th man off the bench.
But no, Phil, I agree that Carolina Panthers plus 1,100. We all think that they're gonna overseed expectations this year. Like they can't be as bad as last year. But I mean, really, the Falcons, they do have all these new pieces. Say Kirk Cousins, doesn't look like himself after an Achilles tear, and then they stick with him over Penix, and it just doesn't quite work. All these new pieces on defense don't work. I mean, this is a very wide open division. I mean, Panthers, like, I could see them doing like a Houston run from like last year. Like, obviously not expect at plus 1100, but you could make worse bets with those odds.
So I have all these free bets. I like to use them on like crazy alt spreads, right? And then try to get a huge payout and then bet against it and, get some cash in the bet if it loses. Ken yelled at me for wanting to take the Panthers minus 9.5 versus the Saints week 1.
Yeah, minus 9.5.
Yeah, but instead you
they're going
to take the Cardinals
the
minus
Saints always just keep it close.
The Panthers are minus 9.5?
No, they're not. With his ridiculous alt line.
No, you take it, and it's like plus 600 on the alt line, right? So instead, he's like, yeah, you know what? The Cardinals minus 7.5 against the Bills. Against, September Josh Allen. And that's what I did, and I'm really regretting it. The line has already moved in the Panthers' favor. It's like 2.5 points. Since that, it's been like a week. Telling you.
I'll take the bet. I'll take that money from you. Don't worry.
No, all right. You need to give me the odds, though, too. And also, you have to use free bets so that
that's the big one. It's the free
bets. So I don't
actually
lose anything. Like, that's the whole point, where it's like, hey, either get a huge payout or don't lose anything. That's the reason I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worked out very well for me. Thank you, Sam Howe. All right. We're done with that. AFC East.
I love these odds, man. Look at that. 3 teams just right there.
And the Patriots play football, too.
So speaking of those ridiculous odds, I still like the Panthers so much more than the Patriots. Please don't pick the Patriots.
I feel like the Patriots, I don't know if it's available anywhere, but I want to see like what's it called? Team to get the worst record. They got to be pushing like almost minus 100, like them versus the field,
I also, speaking of which, I got the 5th pick this past year, and I picked Drake May at the 5th overall pick. And I traded him for Derek Carr and a first next year. But he's like my fourth.
Great trade.
He's like my 4th quarterback. So, like, I just need him to be available when Kyler and Lamar are hurt. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a first next year. And I'll have Derek Carr limp out there for a week and see what happens.
So for the record, worst regular season record, the Patriots are plus 270. The next closest is the Broncos at plus 750. So they're 3 times more likely than the second team.
So the Jets are definitely the most polarizing team that I have because, yes, there is a chance that you get 2.5 year ago Aaron Rodgers back there who can really like manage a game. Like, he doesn't even have to throw deep. Mike Williams is there, so he's got to throw at least one deep ball for him to get hurt on. But but I mean, they have a good defense. They have good pieces, and if you get something from Aaron Rodgers, like, and you get just function in the New York Jets system for 3/4 of a year, you could win this division. I'm just never going to bet on that.
Then Aaron Rodgers can sit for the final 3 games and be like, ayahuasca.
Connor, who do you like to win this one? This is a real tough one.
Like, I want to bet on the Dolphins so bad, but they
you
play
do
in the cold a lot in this division, and it just makes me sad. I don't know. I gotta see something from Tua, like, after November 30th for that to happen, and I just can't do it. As crazy as it is, I want to actually take Aaron Rodgers here.
I'm not stopping, dude. Josh Allen, I think he does not get enough respect for being the second best quarterback in the NFL. The problem is, like, Patrick Mahomes kicks his butt all the time.
John Elway did that.
So
had that happen to him for a long time.
Look at the parallels between what the Bills do just a few years after the Chiefs. Like, they had the stud receiver, they trade him away. Then like last year's Chiefs wide receiver room looks a lot like the Bills receiver room this year of just nothing there. What
Travis
do we do?
Kelce, Dalton Kincaid.
Yes, like there are a lot, and like running back wise, I like you know what? Just don't have one. Doesn't matter because Josh Allen's just going to do everything at the goal line anyways. So I was like, man, are they just like trying to be the Chiefs? But you just can't. You can't copy Pat
Yo,
Mahomes.
Ray Davis is kind of nice. You better watch out. James Cook might take his spot. Ray Davis, that's a name to watch.
What about Frank Gore Jr.? You know, it's like
got
Frank
into
Gore
the
just left the
NFL
league
like
yesterday.
LeBron, like Bronny Jr. Okay.
All right, so kind of real quick, I wanted to pick the Dolphins. I just think that their coach is Kyle Shanahan light. I think that it's just very much a. I mean, I like the dynamic offense. I like the fact is like, well, listen, we got speed, we got our players. Like, I mean, between like Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Achane, like
but
they're
here's
just
the real
similar
reason.
players at different
here's the real
different
reason
spots.
why I can't take the Dolphins, because last year, quite literally, second half of the season, Phil, you'll know this, defenses started playing too high and just sat up there and said, run the ball against us. We don't care as long as Tyreek Hill does not go for a bajillion yards over the top. Anytime, like if you ran a 2 shell and you basically just said run the ball against us, that's pretty much what the Chiefs did. That's what who was it they played in England, in London, where what's Chiefs? I think it was
Miami.
Chiefs. Yeah. Oh,
yep. Miami Chiefs. Yep.
It was Miami Chiefs, and they just literally like sat back and said, keep everything in front. And then they did it again. I think the Bills did it in the playoffs, and they just like, or close to the playoffs, or like at the end of the year, and they lost. Shanahan doesn't have a changeup yet. He has to develop that this year. I think he went out and got Jonnu Smith. He kind of doubled down on more just getting more athletic guys. So he needs to scheme a little better, I think, for those specific reasons.
Well, I think their biggest problem is like they did. I know they can scheme open runs, right? And when the field's 70 yards out and you have safeties nowhere near the line of scrimmage. But like when you get in those tight situations, they don't have a good offensive line. They get bullied around. Yeah. And I know Raheem Mostert like had 50 million rushing touchdowns last year.
Exactly.
There's a difference between on the goal line though and like from the 20 trying to run in. Wasn't there a game where Jason Sanders hit like 5 first half field goals or something stupid last year? Just like it's because they can't, like I feel like when you get to situational football with them, it's like, oh well, crap.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just more like betting on like Mike McDaniel's like further development. That's all. And just continuing like to have his offense getting the players he wants in there to a more like used to the system. And also just the Bills. I like the Bills, but they didn't. Their linebackers hurt again, and they really didn't improve the defense. I know Miami's defense didn't get any better either, but and the only thing why I don't like, I was talking to Phil, their last 4 games are at Houston, one of them is at Cleveland, their only home game in those 4 is against the 49ers, and then it ends week 18 against the Jets. So if the Jets have given up on the year by then, that'll be a W. But besides that, I mean, those are some freaking hard games, you know.
So you're probably you got to be at least, what is it, like 10-4 going into that stretch so that you could finish 11-7. Did I do my math wrong? I think that's right.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so you go 1-3 down the stretch is like a real possibility.
And you're just hoping that these 3 teams beat each other up. Maybe New England takes one from someone in there. Maybe.
So New England has the Bills numbers. It's like every year there's just one game where the Bills are like, how are you losing to Mac Jones throwing 3 passes?
Dude, that was the win bowl, man.
Yeah, and so bad. All right. Yeah, then the Patriots had like a 50-yard touchdown run, right, on the first drive, and then the game was over. Yep. Like it wasn't even close. All right. So by the way, I am low on the Jets. I feel like I should like them, but their offensive line feels like a hodgepodge of just like stuff mixed together, and it's just gonna fall apart, and it's just gonna all backfire because your quarterback's 42 or whatever he is, and he's not going to be able to be, freaking Aaron Rodgers. And also, I still don't like anything they have behind Garrett Wilson. So, we'll see.
Whatever, dude. Mike ACL tear is on the team.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things where people are like, oh, listen, I think it's just going to fall apart because it's the Jets and that's what they do. They have things kind of like held together. But then like the other side of the argument, if you think that Aaron Rodgers can just do it, if you think that, they can all stay functional. Yeah, I mean, I could see them making a playoff run, let alone just win the division.
Yeah, totally. They could totally beat someone in the first round of the playoffs after they go 9-8
playoff
and stumble
run
into the wild card. All right, they beat the Browns in the playoffs.
Stop, please.
All right, AFC West. Like the Chiefs, it's just so obvious, and you guys thinking Javonte Williams is going to be a superstar, while the Broncos go 3-15 on the year.
Shut up.
No, superstar and fantasy relevant are very different.
Big difference.
Yeah, I can tell you that he's not going to be running the ball because his team's going to get his butt kicked.
He's going to, if you catch 10 passes for 30 yards, that is a great PPR game.
Oh, side note, just so you know, back to Dynasty football. So the reason that I traded Drake May is because I took Zamir White and traded for 2.02. So the second round of the second pick and second round. JJ McCarthy was still on the board. So I got 2 top 10 QBs this year. That's the only reason I was able to trade Drake May. That's called hedging.
A good move. I love JJ McCarthy going forward.
Dude, I am so in the middle on him.
Bold thing to say for a guy who's not going to play at all.
I was so out on him the whole time, and then coming into the draft process, I was like, man, I'm out. I watched his combine. I was still out on him. And then he's like, I saw, I don't know, the first preseason game with this bum knee. He looked good. He lit it up, and I was like, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just hated him because he lit it up with the
backups too, which is always
maybe it's because he went to Michigan. I don't know.
I was hearing a lot of mixed things from I still heard obviously he had a bum knee, but Sam Darnold was still outplaying him.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this. JJ McCarthy was taken with the 10th or 11th pick, and Darnold was taken with the 3rd. He's supposed to be better. Duh.
Makes sense. I saw that it was there was a closer battle for him and Nick Mullins for the second QB than Darnold. That was way earlier.
So that was the first couple of weeks, and then the third week
he got
his contract. And by the way, there's rumors here, Ken, just so you know, Mr. Doctor, Mister. So he literally.
We go by Doctor, but shut
up. I don't know how that you can do this. Supposedly, there's rumors that he hid his knee condition somehow so that he could sign his guaranteed contract, which he held out for, by the way. He held out until he got it fully guaranteed. Signed his contract, knew about this knee problem, complained after the first game knowing he was full well he was going to sit. How can a doctor miss that, Ken?
First off, it's a torn meniscus. It's nothing to hide. It's not when you draft a quarterback with your first round pick, in the long run, it's okay, sucks you're missing the season, but that's fine. We need you good for the next 10 years.
Ken, how did Dr. Ken miss this?
Dr. Ken did not miss this.
Do you know how dumb sports doctors are?
Maybe they just didn't want to find it. But no, you can pretty much find it. I doubt that it was that bad. He could have exacerbated it. But just on an exam, if you're not doing full body MRIs, then it is pretty easy to miss a torn meniscus because it's not the most structural integral part of the knee.
Don't you do that test though where you take the hammer, smack him in the knee to see if they have reflexes? Wouldn't you think he goes ow or something?
Yes, that's the patellar tendon. We do this. They're very similar.
That's exactly, yes. You hit the patellar tendon and your leg goes out and has nothing to do with the meniscus. Can you just stop talking?
So you're telling me
Phil,
you hit
No,
the,
no. Did you? No, stop talking.
Strike
you get hit in
4.
the knee with a hammer, and you're gonna tell me the guy doesn't go, "Oh, my meniscus, huh?" I don't believe you.
Phil, you're striking
Okay,
him.
I was just
kidding.
talking to residents about like not arguing with people who are dumber than you.
Yeah, thank you. You're literally too stupid to insult. Thank you. All right. So if you didn't pick the Chiefs to win this division, who would you pick? And I guess it's like obvious the Chargers, but try taking into account the odds. Like, would you take the Raiders over them? If you ever say the Broncos, I'll smack you.
Gardner
Bo Nix looked
Minshew.
great. Bo Nix looked great.
Freaking Colin Cowherd.
At what?
I saw a clip on Twitter of him saying Bo Nix looks like the best quarterback in this draft, out of this draft, and I'm like, the dude is 5 years older than everyone else he came out into the draft with. Of course he looks bigger and stronger and more mature. It's because he can actually grow a beard.
Colin Cowherd, man. What a gem.
I don't know about you guys, man, but Gardner Minshew just keeps winning games he shouldn't, man. He had a nice like 500 record with the Colts last year.
Disgusting.
Dude,
No,
I don't
it's
know
definitely the
how he
Chargers.
beat out Aiden O'Connell. Everything I saw was like Aiden O'Connell's doing great, and then he comes out and in the first preseason game is like perfect, and Minshew's like 50% completion percentage, throws a pick. They're like, no, he beat out O'Connell.
I think it's just one of those classic, like, oh, you can always, like, with O'Connell being younger, it's like you can always go back to O'Connell. Like, you can bench Gardner, but you can't do it twice.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
Unless you were who was the coach? Bill O'Brien, when he did that for the Texans, where he was playing the hot hand at quarterback and swapping out at halftime.
Sounds great.
All right, let's go on then. NFC North. Is Bill O'Brien the head coach at Alabama now?
No, he is. No, he's the offensive coordinator.
I know he was the coordinator for Saban.
Yeah.
He was the offensive coordinator for about 10 minutes at Ohio State, and then he got replaced by Chip Kelly. So he was.
I thought he left Ohio State.
Yeah, you're right. So he came over, accepted the offensive coordinator position at Ohio State, and then left like within a week. It was crazy.
Yep.
I don't even remember what it was. I
And
can't
it was
even,
to be an offensive coordinator somewhere too. It wasn't even
was it
it was
OC or a
Alabama.
head coach? One or the other.
It was a head coach?
It might have been a head coach at like a Next 5.
Yeah, like a high school.
Yeah, at a high school. Damn, what is he doing now?
The funny thing is actually John Kitna's the
Boston College?
That's what it was.
Is that real?
Yes.
He gave up to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State to be the head coach of Boston College?
That's sad.
Okay.
I think he was either about to be offered the position or he was offered the position and left. It was crazy.
I forgot what I was going to say entirely. But let's move on then to the next division. NFC North. This is a really competitive one. Now, before McCarthy's injury, I would have...
Just time out. Just stop for a minute. Just stop.
Stop talking.
Bill O'Brien is leaving Ohio State after 3 weeks as offensive coordinator. He stayed for 3 weeks. I can't believe that.
Everyone knows you'd rather live in Boston than Columbus, apparently. I don't know. But all right. So I wish J.J. McCarthy was healthy for the NFC North, because I would have taken Sam Darnold to get them to 3-1, and then right around Halloween time comes, the ghosts start showing up. You got to bench him because he, starts seeing double. And J.J. McCarthy comes in, leads them on a solid stretch at plus 950. That sounded nice. But after looking at this, the Bears are going to start too slow because I think Caleb Williams has some, shell shock coming into the NFL. And I just don't believe in the Packers. So plus money for the Lions. I think there's a lot worse bets you can make.
Packers. Boom. Get out of here. Jordan Love forever.
Right, why do you like the Packers?
Dude, I actually believe in this Oakland A's Moneyball version that they have going with hot hand wins with their wide receivers. I think Jordan Love is the real deal.
Can you call it Moneyball if you just paid Jordan Love so much money after...
For the rest of the team, yes, it's Moneyball.
For the wide receivers specifically, okay?
They're the only publicly owned organization in the entire NFL. They're owned by the state or the city of Green Bay, so they cannot pay very many people. Thus, Jordan Love, you're it, buddy. So I don't know. Their wide receivers are like they don't have the top end, but they have like 4 twos. And I guess in conglomerate, they have a really good offensive weaponry in terms of the wide receiver core. And I really like, I don't know, I was big on Marshawn Lloyd, which is a rookie, but he got hurt. So I don't necessarily love Josh Jacobs, but I think he's serviceable in this offense. You can see him have kind of a Saquon-esque year when he came back from his ACL. I don't know. I think I really do like LaFleur. I don't know. I just like the odds here. And just because you asked,
Yeah.
I know you're going to.
Okay.
There is no chance that the Houston Texans lose the AFC South. But if I was going to pick, it's going to be my man AR, Indianapolis Colts, Shane Steichen. Just if you're wondering.
So the funny thing is, like, I completely agree with you that I love the Colts, and like I think they could beat anyone because I think Anthony Richardson can go out and rush for 300 yards and throw for 500 on the same game while throwing 6 picks. Yeah.
Hey, Connor, real quick, guess which 2 of us 3 picked the Colts to go over in their win total, and guess which
Probably
one?
Me and you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Nailed it.
So now just listen. I was gonna say I love Anthony Richardson on an any game basis. However, across 17 games, I don't know if he can stay healthy, and I don't know if the Colts are actually good at football.
Bill, this is just like fantasy football. We bet the ceiling, okay? We only want ceiling.
Okay, yeah, and if I'm taking a ceiling, I'm gonna go with the team that was supposed to win 14 games last year and started out like 7-1. It's Jags all the way, baby.
Boo.
Trevor Lawrence is coming out. He's gonna kill it. Spoiler alert, he's gonna be my pick for lead the league in
Spoiler alert,
passing
Doug
yards.
Peterson out of a job next year.
Those are the options. There is no middle ground for that man. Super Bowl or bust.
I gotta go.
See you, Connor.
Later.
All right, Ken, let's stick on the AFC South. So Connor is on the Texans, but he would pick the Colts just in case they didn't win. I am actually going to go with Jaguars plus 270 to upset the Texans.
That's tough, man. Texans are going all in, and I believe in Stroud. They made a huge bet last year. They're like, we're going to take Stroud. Who was the defensive player? Was it Will Carter?
Will Anderson.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, like we're doing it. And now, I like them getting Diggs, even though they're like over. It's really is a the contract year for them, the prove it year. I still think we're gonna look back and be like, man, we definitely should have taken Tank Dell as the wide receiver 1. I just think that he's just a better player than Nico Collins. I know Nico Collins really balled out at the end of last year, but that was without Tank Dell. And Tank Dell and CJ Stroud, they're BFFs. It's back to the Matt Stafford Cooper Kupp thing. I really think that goes somewhere. This is just going back to our fantasy football argument there, Phil. But
yeah, the video that like 3.5 people saw. Great job, Ken.
Good. But no. Just I don't know how many years I gotta want to see it from Trevor Lawrence, and just just missing that it factor. It doesn't matter. Got him paid, but no. I like the Texans offense more. So I know I don't. That sophomore slump definitely happens, and it certainly can to CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson didn't play long enough to really qualify for the sophomore slump here. I do like. I mean, you guys are so down on Michael Pittman Jr. For the Colts too. I like him, Josh Downs, and Jonathan Taylor. I think there's just like decent weapons in Indianapolis too. But no, I'm doing Houston and Indy. I'm staying on brand.
All right, so then back to the NFC North. I got the Lions. Connor is just all in on. He says the Moneyball Packers, but it's like only their receiving room, and they're just like,
It's not.
hey,
It's not Moneyball. It's not Moneyball when you
well,
like
it
overpay.
is for the receiving room where they get like you get like 8 guys, and you're all gonna play this week. Whoever catches the touchdown, congratulations. But anyway, so who do you have in this division? I think the Bears are wildly overrated.
Yeah, I do gotta say I'm sure that their odds jumped up after seeing some sensational play from Caleb Williams. I mean he's the guy, like if you just went by like top 10 highlight reel plays every game, you're like thinking he's like mini Mahomes out there. But it's so tough with preseason. Like he's playing against people that aren't going to make teams, and he's doing a lot of the running and improvising, and it's like cool, like you probably get away with that in the preseason. That start of season, it's just a lot different for rookies. I think I do like Caleb Williams for like long run, but I think that there's definitely growing pains involved. I like them as like a sneaky wild card, but no, it's the Lions. It's just the Lions. Like I mean, I like Dan Campbell. Like he gets his people pumped. He gets the best out of his players. That offense looks good. It's gonna be kind of annoying. I think that David Montgomery's underrated because, but this is fantasy wise, not actually football wise. He's completely well rated there.
He's appropriately rated at 3.5 to 4.5 yards per carry. No, that's it. That's all you're getting.
But they like their 4 yards and a cloud of dust to go with some like a little bit of sprinkle magic from Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like that is just good. Like and we talked about their end of the year amazing, somehow never going outdoors schedule. Perfect for Jared Goff. I mean, no. I think I'm more expecting some regression from Jordan Love and less from the Lions team in general.
All right, so now let's take a look at conference winner. We'll stick in the NFC because that's where we finished talking up, and that's the order by DraftKings. So looking here, I feel like do we agree that we both love the 49ers to win this? If you want to pick differently, but I would like if I had
the only reason I want to pick differently is because they've been my pick to win the NFC 3 years in a row.
So all right,
it's been a good pick.
We're not allowed to pick favorites for this. Like we're not going to be boring and just say, hey, 49ers. Yeah. So if I'm looking at here,
I'll tell you the one I don't like is Atlanta. The one I don't like that's kind of like higher up there is Atlanta. Like I think that they're enough to like beat up the bad division, but like when you start talking about these legitimate teams, no.
So I love this because like I can sound like such a hypocrite within an episode because it's everything I do is like based on the odds, and I'm looking. First of all, the Rams are terrible and the Bears are terrible picks also to win these conferences. I don't think they have a shot. They're just not good enough. But like Packers at plus 800, like if everything actually works out for them, I don't think it will. They went toe to toe with the 49ers last year. They had them until it stopped raining and Brock Purdy was able to turn it on. So I don't know why they wouldn't be considered with like an extra year of development on all their young players to be the actual first or second best team in the NFC. Now, again, that is assuming everything works out. And at 8-1, there's a lot worse ways to take a pick, especially with what's listed here. And don't tell me you're taking the Cowboys at plus 700. So
no, and I mean it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing that I mentioned with the Jets. It's like, oh, Green Bay Packers, I'm not picking them to win, but if they did, like, I do see a path to that. And, when you're talking about plus 800, like, yes, it's a path to it,
All right. So let's head over to
I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles. If I'm not allowed to pick the 49ers, because I'm not allowed to pick the 49ers, it's the Eagles.
What do you like about the Eagles? So is it just their offense? Is it their defense? I mean, I like the coordinators they brought in, but so their defense is old and rickety.
I like that they put money into the pass rushers. I do like that. I really think their team just completely, as soon as like Jalen Hurts was playing through like a knee injury and just stopped, like Jalen Hurts has tons of limitations as a quarterback, but what he did well, like functioning at like with that threat of his legs that just went away in the second half of the year, it really just emphasized his like the accuracy that's just not quite, it's not at like the Purdy level, and it wasn't at the Jordan Love, level last year. And you just saw this whole team just fall apart. Like, and then you couldn't ride DeAndre Swift because DeAndre Swift was not that type of running back. And I really think that, you get him in with a solid system. If he stays healthy, can keep running all year. I mean, I just thought that, I thought they looked good.
All right.
Or I thought they can.
Gotcha. AFC now. Looking here. This is tough. like you could. I honestly don't know why the Browns and the Jags are so low. Like, again, the Browns were a successful team last year, and through the first 10 weeks, the Jags were a successful team, and for some reason just completely collapsed. So it's like if they actually put together a full year, they should be on par with the Jets, and in between the Jets and Texans, in my opinion. So I don't know why they're plus 2,500. The Browns, the defense, like we said last year when they made it to the playoffs, if their defense can carry them, they we've seen crazier things happen, like the Eli Manning Super Bowl runs. But yeah, I have a feeling we're going to end up in the same spot, and it's just got to be, I got to take Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Like, I had them last year. They were a 9-win team without their superstar quarterback. Like, you got to remember, he sucked to begin the year because of an injury. Got healthy. They looked phenomenal. I think they went to San Francisco and completely manhandled them on both sides of the ball. Everything I've heard about their defense has actually been good, despite it being gutted in recent years. And as long as Jamar Chase gets onto the field, like, their offense is going toe-to-toe with everyone. They revamped the tackles, so Bengals all the way, man. I keep saying it, but Joe Burrow is the only guy who can actually take down Patrick Mahomes, apparently, in the league still, because Brady beat him.
So, no, I'm 100% with you there. I mean, after talking up Joe Mixon last time he was here, I was looking at all these like efficiency stats, and like they're like, listen, Joe Mixon is just a guy. And guess what? They replaced him with Zach Moss, who is just a guy. And Chase Brown, it's just the classic, like, these fast backs look better when they're not getting hit, man. And then you start adding in contact, and all of a sudden, those Donta Foreman types and Javonte Williams start looking better. Phil, you don't have to agree with it. That's fine. But point being is that Joe Burrow just made that offense made Joe Mixon look better. I'm sure that Chase Brown and Zach Moss will look just fine back there. But more importantly, like, I mean, I believe in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. Like, I mean, people are kind of hating on T. Higgins like right now just because he's had years where he plays for a play in a game and ends up getting hurt and kind of goes through it. Like, Joe Burrow's been hurt, but I'm not worried about this wrist. I'm not worried about his calf. No, I do think that the Bengals are certainly the ones. If never going to say, hey, just don't bet on Pat Mahomes, bet against Pat Mahomes. Like, no, but at plus 700, I like that one. The same thing with the Jets, where it's like, cool, I could see, a path where, Aaron Rodgers, it makes for great TV. And that's what Aaron Rodgers loves, that he could, just run some boring game manager games and, like, beat some of these teams. The Dolphins at the plus 1100, like, I just like the dynamic offense. I don't know how the longevity is. That they're very good at beating up bad defenses. Sorry Broncos last year. A lot of teams give up 70 points.
Not a lot of teams give up 70 points. They're called doctors.
I was gonna say though, because like maybe it's because like the Browns are in with like the Ravens and Bengals. It's like, oh, it's a hard time getting to the playoffs. But the Miami odds are half as low as the Browns. I mean, that's low. I just think that people really hate Deshaun Watson, and I really hate Deshaun Watson, but I'm also a Browns fan. That's all I got. I don't know.
So if they said Jameis replaced Deshaun, do you think the odds would go up? Like, that's actually
my odds would go up. Well, Philly, we were talking about it. Like, Jameis Winston is more of a chucker. He's very Flacco-esque. I mean, he's a better version of Flacco. Like, and they replace. And if you watch those pre-games with Jameis Winston, man, he just loves being out there. His teammates love him. Like, man, I gotta tell you, I hope that he gets some time for the Browns this year. I really do.
Do you hope he gets time because Watson gets knocked out, or like just in general they're like, get in there, we need something different?
Unfortunately, there's only one option because they're never going to take Watson out. It doesn't matter. I mean, anything about it. Like, if Deshaun Watson's healthy, he's playing. There's nothing you can do. Besides one half of the Baltimore Browns game last year, he hasn't shown anything in 3 years. Besides a big paycheck, there's really not much to show for it.
He has not had that big a paycheck. We really deferred his salary down the road.
He'll get it. I know what guarantee means.
All right. Let's pick Super Bowl winner. Again, this is odds, so you're not forced to pick the winner of whatever you said, the Bengals Eagles. That'd be a great Super Bowl, though. I would love to watch that one. So I'm not gonna lie. My obvious pick is the Chiefs, but I'm not saying Chiefs or 49ers because look at how far ahead they are of everyone. But at odds, oh man, like the Dolphins can't make it there is my trouble because they're gonna have to play an outdoor football game in the winter. Honestly, like, I mean,
not Texans, if they go like 12-0 going into those last 5 games, there's a chance they don't have to play any.
But like, I don't. The Jags at plus 5,000. Am I crazy for loving the Jags so much?
Yeah, you are.
What don't you like about the Jags? Like, that's what I want to know.
The fact that they have the similar team minus Calvin Ridley and they just haven't done it. Trevor Lawrence has always looked just good enough.
Dude, I feel like this is like the description of the Eagles who won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. You know, like
that was what you mean, Nick Foles?
Yeah, with Miracle Nick Foles.
What do you mean?
The guy who's terrible for the first 2 playoff games, and then channeled inner Dan Marino, and
the team that was 11-1 with Carson Wentz that year.
Yeah,
Carson Wentz was the leading MVP candidate when he got hurt.
I could see that all happening, and Trevor Lawrence being the leading MVP candidate
and getting hurt. I hope no.
And then CJ Beathard comes in.
I mean, if you want to bet plus 5,000 on the Jags, sure.
Like they were 8-3 last year, and then they were terrible, but like they were a good team.
Well, it's not a first half a word, Phil.
Like I know, I get it, and I just keep looking at them though as like, why are these other teams like the Chicago Bears and the Rams getting all this love when it's like the Jaguars were above 500 and we were just treating them like dirt? It's like, if Trevor Lawrence can put it together, they're a great team because he's Trevor Lawrence and he could still be one of the top 5.
They haven't
QBs.
Made a playoff run, and I think that's why. I think that's it. They haven't. I mean, they beat.
So, do you think they should be behind the Falcons and the Bears?
I think
and the Chargers.
The Chargers?
Yeah, right above them.
Oh, well, anything in the NFC I see just because it's like, oh, you got to get there. Look at all those freaking good teams in the AFC. You're going to have to play 2 of them to get there.
That's true.
I think that's really where
Browns,
you get that.
Yeah, that's a good team. I'm just kidding. But because they're ahead of the Jags.
Yeah, I see. But the Chargers there, man.
People love Harbaugh. Apparently, the betting world loves Harbaugh.
Yeah. That was a big thing in our group chat that you guys won't see. Is I was like, hey guys, maybe some late value with these Chargers because they're drafted so late. And Phil was like, listen, shut up. We're not drafting any Chargers to our fantasy team, and that's final.
They got J.K. Dobbins.
Then you got J.K. Dobbins.
No, you kept saying Gus Edwards though, and it's like, where in the world are his touchdowns coming from?
The fact that he's going against this super injured back and J.K. Dobbins.
No, but like, how many rushing touchdowns do you think the Chargers are going to have? 15? Like, that sounds like a good number, but he'll get 8 or 9. That's not a lot.
I just think that Herbert is. I just think Herbert's a good quarterback. I think that everyone's just like throwing him off as to like Trevor Lawrence fodder, and I think that he's just more functional. I think that like Harbaugh and Greg Roman will actually use that. You know, he's not Lamar Jackson. They're not going to play him like Lamar Jackson, and I think they're just going to move the ball slower but more efficient than you think.
Even Harbaugh didn't kill teams in college, though, is why I don't like him to like have a good offense. Because he's like, yeah, dude, we'll win 28-7. What do I care? We won 28-7. Game over. That's what he did in college, let alone in the NFL. Like, I could see
in the NFL, to win, you got to score 21. Like you're not going to get a bunch of like 13-10 games. I just don't think so. And I mean, if my whole point is the whole value of the Chargers is down. Like everybody, like we're talking when I like Gus Edwards, I like Gus Edwards in the 10th and 11th rounds. You know, and it's
we
just
took our quarterbacks instead, though.
Yeah, but it's more so they're going to be a run heavy team with and I don't believe in the other running back. That's really what it is. It's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be boring, and I think I could see him getting 8, 9, 10 touchdown, which is a lot, you know. But once in the 11th round, if you're a non-pass catching back, who gets that many touchdowns, it's worthwhile at least.
They seem like a team who's going to be the reason some undrafted some free agent today has a good year.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
What I feel like. So that's why
I could see that too. Yeah, absolutely.
Frank Gore Jr.,
Mike Davis. You're saying that Gus Edwards is the next Mike Davis? I could see that.
I'm telling you right now, Harbaugh is calling up saying, hey, Frank Gore Jr., I loved your dad. Come on over to the Chargers.
Hey, Frank Gore Jr., what's your dad doing? We need him. I know he's in shape.
I was about to say, has he been lifting?
Who is the other?
I would say, did you give Super Bowl stuff? I know I keep talking up the Jags. And then the Texans.
No, I like going back to
Jags,
it. I like
Texans,
the Bengals, man.
Packers. I think that's it. Bengals too, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, this is more just me hoping, but it's like 49ers, just get it, man. You guys have been there so many times.
They remind me of the Boston Celtics, where it's like, dude, you guys have been so good for so long that, yeah, congratulations on winning the NBA championship this year. You kind of deserved one. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
After
I would
7
really
conference champs, you deserve a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see Joe Burrow versus Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. I think that yes, both teams that lost recently, but I mean, I don't know. I think it would make for an exciting game. But of course, the other teams obviously talked about don't bet against Mahomes. It's that's fine. But you could. I mean, I still don't hate the Dolphins.
Don't bet against Mahomes, but you could. I'm just kidding. Yeah. If I had to pick, all right. So if I have to lock in one pick, yeah, I'm going Bengals plus 1,300. I got them going to there after winning the conference. So, and then if I had to lock in a wild card pick, anything beyond Jets and beyond, I think I would actually do the Jaguars. Jets are a great wild card pick.
I know after talking all that shit, like I really don't hate that Jets.
No, yeah. Now I'm looking at it. It's like, dude, I'd love to bet.
I don't like the Rams. I don't like the Falcons. I don't like the Bears.
Well,
Browns,
it's like Jets and Jags are the only two teams I look here, and I say I can have a guy playing at a top 5 quarterback level by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Jets. Don't hate Eagles, Bengals. So if you guys want to make that bet on Josh Allen too, I just don't like what they did around him. They're treating him like Pat Mahomes, and he's not.
If the Bills win a Super Bowl this year, it's like the ultimate. It's like the world giving them the best karma because they are by far the worst Bills to exist in the Josh Allen era. And it's like, all right, congratulations, you had what's it called? Who? There was someone who just had like a run to the Super Bowl because everyone was hurt, and I can't remember the team. Or they had a great playoff run. Was it the Bengals?
It was the Bengals. They had a great playoff run, and they weren't expected to make it there.
Yeah, they had a lot of breaks go their way because someone like they had an interception on the last play against the Titans. They barely beat the Raiders, and then they beat the Chiefs in overtime when the Chiefs got the ball first.
And I mean, even with the Bengals, like they lost to Mahomes, and then it's like, what was it, the year before? Yeah, it was the year before where it's like, man, they really could have won. I don't know. I just think they play the Chiefs so good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, we've talked enough. We can do player futures another time. We'll do that another time so Connor can be here. We'll look at the awards as well as the the totals. Those are always fun to be like, who's going to lead the league in passing yards. I think someone
gonna get real boring.
I don't know if anyone had Tua last year. I think we all talked about Herbert, but he was the one who led in passing yards. So, all right, cool. Anything to end on?
I do think that Connor's wife is way too overqualified to be killing mice.
I have a feeling she did not actually kill mice. I agree, though.
She might see them dead, and she might actually have to dissect them or something, but she doesn't kill mice.
Or she took a tear.
The other one.
All right.
All right.
Well, good talking to you, Ken. Thanks.
Enjoy the mac and cheese salad, man.
That's so gross. I wish people knew what we were talking about because I deleted that recording.
Don't worry. They're not here anymore.